Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Habibis. God, I'm too nervous. I'm too nervous. I got it wrong last time. I'm gonna
There's
You're
three
gonna
of
get it
us.
right.
I'm
You're still talking. You can still get it right.
still going. Well, welcome to the Habibis, the podcast with three Arab game developers drinking good Arab tea. I'm your host for this episode, Rami Ismail.
And Abu Salvador is.
Oh no, I'm Fawzi Mesmar.
Amazing.
And you're almost amazing. You said three Arab game developers, and although that's accurate, that's not the intro. But you get a pass. You get a pass
Subhanallah.
because this is
Subhanallah.
part two.
This is part two. This is our first post cliffhanger. This is so exciting.
It is so exciting.
Do you think that it's the kind of thing where you're like, I never thought I would do a cliffhanger on a podcast, but
I mean,
here we
not
are.
intentionally.
No, we just talked too much last time.
That's right.
Previously on the
Well,
Habibis.
previously on the Habibis, we tried to figure out what our top 10 games of the year were, but eventually we just had to make a top 10 list of games. We managed to make that, and now I think we need to figure out the order. So, y'all have your list ready?
My list ready.
Ready to copy paste? See what happens?
Furiously.
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
I'm ready.
Wait, you're missing one.
Yes.
So you're not ready.
I'm not ready.
Those is like top 9.
I'm ready.
Wait, you have the
No,
same one twice.
The same one twice. You probably hit it. Okay.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
There we go.
All right. There's some interesting stuff here.
Very interesting.
Some very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. Let me redo some of this so that we have a slightly better idea of where things are.
Oh, it's all over the place.
It's
Wow.
Oh
all
yeah,
over
this
the
is an absolute mess. This is
Yeah.
great. I
Yeah.
am very happy about this. Okay, Osama Fawzi, I made a separate spreadsheet behind.
Yeah.
So let's see if any of us very strongly disagree with anything. Shall we read this?
Yeah,
Yes,
let's read this.
from the
By
bottom.
All right,
scores.
shall we start from the bottom?
Yes,
From the
bottom is
bottom
better.
up.
That way there's
Alright.
anticipation for the
But this is not our final. This is just
Yeah.
what we're agreeing on for now.
Exactly.
Okay, tamam. So, shall I just read all of them?
Go for
Yeah,
it.
do it.
All right. On 10, we have Cobalt Core with 9 points. A Space for the Unbound on 9 with 10 points. On 8, we have Final Fantasy 16 with 12 points. 7, Spider-Man 2 with 14 points. 6, Cocoon with 16 points. 5, Dredge with 16 points. 4, Alan Wake with 16 points. 3,
tied.
Zelda Tears of the Kingdom with 19 points. 2, Baldur's Gate 3 with 25 points. And 1, Venba with 28 points.
You know what? I'm okay with this.
Yeah. This
For
actually
the most
okay.
part.
So
I think it's
most-
kind of
only
funny
thing to
that both
discuss.
Alan Wake and Dredge are both 16, especially
Yes.
because you guys made the comparison earlier.
Yes. So but I agree. In the most part, this feels right, except
This
for
feels right to me.
figuring out the number 4, 5, and 6.
I-
But let's see. We could talk about any other disagreements that we have.
I'm okay with this order, really. I feel like Vemba being a Habibi game of the year makes a lot of sense,
Makes
considering the three of us and our lives.
Yep, agree.
Yeah.
But I think Alan Wake should be higher.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's my only one. I think Alan Wake deserves to be up.
I don't see how Alan Wake is going to be either Baldur's Gate 3 or Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I can see
I
that.
haven't played it, I know, but those were all contenders. All 3 of the top 3 games were all potentially my top 1.
Right.
Yeah.
That is so strong.
Alan Wake was potentially my top 1.
Yeah.
Not even top 3, top 1. For me, Alan Wake had impossible odds to face. Like, I am a huge fan of Alan Wake 1. I did not think they would be able to nail that. And Alan Wake 2 is just like, it's decadent levels of good game. It's narratively smart, it's mechanically smart, it's atmospherically smart. Like, just kind of everything about that game is good. Like I don't know, I couldn't put it down the moment I started. This was I think for me 2023 is the year of like vibe based games. Like
Mhm.
that's genuinely sort of how I think of 2023.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like in terms of vibes, like I think Alan Wake can give Baldur's Gate and Zelda both a run for the money. I just think Venba hits so hard that there's no way for anything to pass it.
Okay, I'm gonna say something. Don't hate me. Don't be mad. You have
Okay.
to promise not to be mad.
Okay.
We've missed a game, a really important one.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know
What did we
we're
miss?
very close to the final. We forgot to carry it over. Street Fighter 6. It was on all three of our lists, and somehow we got forgotten.
Yeah, you're right.
He is right.
So we need to at
But
least.
like I'll be very honest. If Street Fighter 6 makes it in, it is going to be in place of Cobalt Core for me. So it's not very
Yes.
complicated.
Yeah,
Not complicated for me too. It definitely deserves the space of Cobalt Core.
yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
But then
Right,
we
let
have
me
to discuss where it is on the list for us. Sorry to introduce this, but I cannot not
No,
have.
no, it's
No.
fine. Like, we should make sure we get it right.
Yeah. Because when I was telling you before that Venba, Baldur's Gate 3, and Zelda were the three I debated for first, and I'm like, wait, there was a fourth one
Right.
that I was debating, and then I remembered Street Fighter 6. So to me, that's the space it occupies. It is.
I don't know, like for me, and I'm gonna be very honest with y'all. Like Venba, I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, same.
No matter what,
Same.
right? Like I'm gonna remember that game for the rest of my life. Baldur's Gate 3, I'm gonna remember until they do a better one. Which it's Larian, they will.
Yeah.
Right.
Zelda, you
Zelda
already
Tears of
forgot.
Kingdom, honestly, I did. I
Oh,
genuinely like most of it. I forgot. Like
Yeah.
I think there's a few story beats that I remember, and a few like moments where I was like, that was cool. Like most of that game was just kind of tedious for me, and it never evoked the sense of wonder or place. Alan Wake, I'm never gonna forget either.
Mm.
Like that is. It is an impossible game. It is an impossible achievement. It is an impossible. It shouldn't be possible to make Alan Wake 2, and they did it.
Mm.
And they did it with confidence. Like that is not a game you make with confidence.
Mm.
And I appreciate that. I just very deeply appreciate that. I think with most of this, I'm fairly okay. I'm a little disappointed with Final Fantasy 16 sitting on the 8th place, but like, halas, I get it. If I had to hold any game hostage here, it would be Cocoon.
Mm.
I'd say, okay, move that down, move something else up. But I'm also kind of like, it was really well done. I would place Alan Wake above Baldur's Gate 3 even.
Oof.
Yeah,
But
very friendly
definitely
with
above
pillows.
Zelda.
Fight you for that one.
Well, you haven't played Alan Wake 2.
No, but like, and that's why. Like, the thing is, if you noticed my cut list, the
Yeah.
only game I had on my cut list that I didn't play was Karateka because of the reasons. Like, I'm
Right.
judging based on your feedback of it. And Baldur's Gate 3 really deserves to be top 3 in my opinion.
I agree.
If
I agree.
I would squeeze one in, I would actually squeeze Street Fighter 6 between Zelda and Alan Wake 2. And I know you'll fight me for that, but that's the placement
Dude,
that
I won't fight you in Street Fighter though. I'm gonna get bodied.
Fawzi will body both of us. That's just how it works.
No, for me, if I would move Alan Wake to second place, probably.
I can't see Alan Wake being more than Baldur's Gate and Zelda for me.
Me either. I'm sorry,
It's
Rami.
a
I think
great
you're
game,
gonna lose
that's
that
why-
and
one.
it is the Habibis list. It's not the Rami list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Street Fighter, I can replace it with Space on the for the Unbound for
But
it to
not
be
higher than
number
that?
9. What's that?
Not higher than that. Because I actually think Street Fighter 6 is better than Spider-Man 2. Like,
I
at
would
the
agree
very
with
least.
that. I would agree with that. So
I would
like,
agree with that, but then I would argue that Space for the Unbound is better than both of them
Yeah,
for me.
better than Spider-Man.
Yeah. Again, like I did not enjoy Spider-Man, Fawzi. Like
Better than Street Fighter.
Yeah. Yeah, because here's the thing: like Street Fighter is a very good execution of something I've seen before.
Mhm.
And it is the best execution of it, no question about it.
Mm.
But for me, there's a difference between building on something and achieving it, and doing something that has never been done before and doing it. And they get no shortcuts in talking about Indonesian culture, Indonesian history, Indonesian music. They get no shortcuts.
That's fair.
They get nothing.
Yeah.
It's like they had to build. It's the old video game development joke, right? They had to build the rails on the train as it was moving.
Yeah.
With no destination, and they landed exactly where they needed to go.
I think
And
this
to
is
me,
why it deserves the recognition, but also gameplay-wise, there's a lot there that we've seen before too.
of course, but you can't take risks on everything.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you're
You
taking,
shouldn't.
yeah, and I think that's kind of like the thing that games from emerging territories always walk into is their location and culture is the risk,
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's unfair,
yeah,
right?
and,
It's
and,
not
and
fair,
this is why I wanted it on the list.
right?
And I think it deserves to be on the Habibis top 10 list.
For me, comparing it to Street Fighter 6, which is a sublime fighting game, or Spider-Man 2, which is a very well executed Spider-Man game, not for me, but very well executed.
Mhm.
I think I will always, and I'm an independent, like I can't help it, I will always rate risk
Mhm.
very high on my sort of what do I value? Space of the Unbound is a risky game.
Mhm.
It's a very risky game. And I think Street Fighter is a risky game. I thought Spider-Man 2 was less risky.
Yeah.
So for me, it makes sense that it would go, Space for the Unbound, Street Fighter, Spider-Man. And then Final Fantasy, I'm okay with dropping that all the way to the bottom. Like it was cool and interesting. I think they didn't really know what they were doing, but they did a lot of cool things.
Mhm. I won't
That's kind
comment
of where I
on
would end
Final
up.
Fantasy, but I definitely think that Spider-Man should be below Street Fighter 6. And I like what you're saying about Space for the Unbound. If it's higher than Spider-Man, I respect that, but I didn't play it for long enough to
All
comment.
right, let's just agree. We all agree that Street Fighter should be above Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fawzi, is that correct?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Because I think that's not a big thing to argue about, and I think we all agree that Final Fantasy VI should be below Spider-Man and Street Fighter.
16. 6 is a
Sorry.
different discussion.
Yeah,
Six,
six-
sorry,
six
my
is
apologies.
number
My
one.
apologies. All right.
On this
Final
list.
Fantasy 16
Yeah.
should be below both of them.
Yeah.
So then, really, our big question is where does Space of the Unbound go?
I would put it higher than Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 6,
Higher
Space
than
for the Unbound,
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man.
more than Street Fighter?
You liked Spider-Man
That's a
more
good
than
point.
Street Fighter, is what you said?
What's that?
No. He said should Space for the Unbound be above Street Fighter or under it for you?
To me, it's under, but I'd accept over. But for me, it's under.
I think for me, I'd be happy with Street Fighter, Space for the Unbound, Spider-Man, and then Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
Then
that's
that
my
is what we do. That is 2 votes, and 2 votes means we lock it in.
Excellent. So now
All right.
the conversation is between the three-way tie: Alan Wake 2,
Which is in
Dredge,
the middle.
and Cocoon.
Okay.
Because to me,
Well,
I'm
my argument is made.
yeah. To me, the it's Dredge, then Alan Wake 2, and then Cocoon. I would swap those two. And I know, Rami, you're gonna fight me, but I'm just saying what.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. Fawzi,
I haven't played Dredge, so I can't make that argument, but I did play Alan Wake and Cocoon. And yeah, I'm happy with the order. Alan Wake 2, Dredge, then Cocoon. I'm fine with that.
I mean, for me, it's impossible to think Cocoon ends above Dredge. Like personally, like Dredge to me is it is subtle in such a beautiful way. That I don't think so. And while I think Dredge nails the sense of anxiety at times better than Alan Wake does, I think Alan Wake as a package is just one of the best games of the year.
Okay.
Sounds
so like we have a
Yeah,
more or
this-
less
this-
consensus. We have a list.
I mean, I can fight for years about
Yeah.
Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate, and Zelda, but I'm not gonna make that. So
no,
I
sorry.
will yield. Are we happy? This is actually, I think, one of the
That's a
biggest
good
questions of the
list.
year. Are we happy with Baldur's Gate versus Zelda?
To me, it's really difficult to compare the two. My Zelda is higher for me than Baldur's Gate 3, but I'm okay with.
It's the opposite for me, which is strange. Like for me, every time a Zelda game came out, it won my game of the year every time. This is probably the only year which I will give it to Baldur's Gate over Zelda.
Yeah, for me, it's Baldur's Gate over Zelda. Like we've been clear on this
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
so I think we'll leave it at that. Well, then we have a top 10.
We have a top 10. Do you want to count from the bottom up for
Yeah.
us, Remy?
Down from the bottom up. Everybody takes turns. We do Fauci, Osama, me.
Yep.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay,
So
Fauci.
at number 10 we have Final Fantasy 16.
At number 9, we have Spider Man 2.
At number 8, we have A Space for the Unbound.
At number 7 we have Street Fighter 6.
At number 6, we have Cocoon.
At number 5, we have Dredge.
At number 4 we have Alan Wake 2.
At number 3, we have Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
At number 2, we have Baldur's Gate 3.
And the Habibis Game of the Year at number 1 is Vemba.
And so well deserved.
Yeah.
So well deserved.
Do you guys want to say a couple of words about why Vemba is our Game of the Year?
Yes. Yes, I do. Can I go first?
Go.
Go for it.
Okay. Venba is a game I will think about forever. It basically it mirrors a lot of my childhood. So a little bit about it, in case you're just don't know what Venba is. Venba is about a woman named Venba. That's the titular character, who is of Indian descent. Her and her husband moved to Canada seeking a new life, and eventually they have a child. And the story is about all of them, mostly about Venba, but also about the child. And the child, even though I'm not from India, I'm from Iraq, the child's experience mirrors my own in many ways. I can't, as an Iraqi, the diaspora, it mirrors. There are some scenes in it that are so me that in some way, some of them I've thought about for a long time, and others I've forgotten. I've completely forgotten that I had that experience, and this was a stark reminder of it. Venba is art. Like, the whole argument over is games art or not. Venba is undeniably art. It is an incredibly meaningful experience for me. I cried happy tears, I cried sad tears, and I will think about it for forever.
For me, it's really a game about finding who you are and rejecting who you are. And I think any child that grew up between cultures or moving between cultures, any child that ever had to deal with the disconnect of the otherness of not being from a place, any child that had to deal with parents from a culture that is, I think primarily non-Western, but pretty much global culture everywhere else, I think will recognize themselves in this in some way, shape, or form. I described it for myself as a game about having parents. And I cried a lot. And there's one particular scene in the game that I don't want to talk about. I don't want to spoil.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a particular scene in the game that just had me bawling for like 20 minutes or something, and then I called my parents because I could, and I wanted to, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity to, because the game reminds you that there's an enormous sacrifice in trying or having children in a place that you don't recognize, and knowing that they might not understand you or connect with you throughout your life. And I think there is something I'm gonna tear up again. So I'm just gonna that Venba is my game of the year because it'll make me cry just talking about it.
I love what you guys said about it, and it was the same for me. I finished playing the game in a plane. I landed and I called my mom. So the minute I landed, and it's exactly that. It's the game that makes you. It speaks to reality so much that it makes you appreciate aspects of the struggle of first and second generation immigrants, or people living between cultures, or just like the idea of coming into terms with your own identity. Yeah.
It's so honest. I think one of the things that really stood out to me is that there is a tremendous level of empathy that Visai Games must have had to make the point of view character the mother.
Yeah.
Right? It shows a level of self-reflection and understanding that I think is really powerful. It also reminded me that kids, even when they don't try to, kids are mean, y'all.
Yeah.
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 Kids are mean. They don't try to. They're just figuring their life out. But like,
Yeah.
gosh, and the game never tries to smoothen that out. It never tries to sugarcoat it. It's like, hey, listen, this was us, and it's very clear that this is a game about the developers, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's probably like a sort of like averaged out or evened out or like a selected um, a collective memory. But like it is so honest, it's so genuine, it's so vulnerable, it is so self-reflective. It doesn't hide, it's not embarrassed, it's not ashamed. It just says, this is the line we took to who we are. And now we are making a game that's proud of our culture, of our history, of our people, of our parents, and of us.
Hmm.
And just nobody made anything like this in games ever, and
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. I love it.
Agreed.
It's so
Game of the
Okay,
deserved
year.
for number one. It really
we
does.
also all agreed about Baldur's Gate 3. I don't think we need to say many words about it.
No, great game.
I I did want to say one thing about Baldur's Gate 3,
Hmm.
which is there is this TV show called Fool Us. You know it?
No.
No.
It's a Penn and Teller magic show. It's a
Oh.
U.S. television
Oh,
show.
Fool Us. Yes, yes, yes. I
Yeah,
do know it.
it's a television series where magicians go and they try to do a magic trick in front of like super famous magicians, Penn and Teller. And there's this particular episode where a magician goes up and he does this kind of amazing trick, right? Basically, what he does is he I think he forces a card, right, on Penn or Teller, and then near the end of the trick, he drops the deck of cards, and then as the cards are falling, he just snatches out from the falling deck the correct card,
Wow.
right? And it's a magic trick.
Yeah.
It's a magic trick, and Penn and Teller, they always go after the magic trick is done. You know, they kind of keep they talk to the contestant, and then after they talk to the contestant, Penn and Teller like discuss whether they can figure out how the trick was done, and then they try to communicate it in code words
Hmm.
that a magician would understand,
Hmm.
um, that the audience would not, to see if Penn and Teller figured it out, and then it's an honor system,
Yeah.
right?
Because
The
they don't want to
magician will
reveal
either
the
admit
secrets, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
so the magician will reveal whether they were correct, and this one something really interesting happened because Penn and Teller kind of explained that there's two types of magic tricks. There's magic and there's juggling.
Hmm.
With magic, you say you're going to do something that is that is impossible, but you do something else.
Hmm.
And with juggling, you say you're going to do something pretty much impossible, and then you do it. And the argument that they made is that this contestant hadn't done magic, that there was no trick, that they had just trained long enough to be good enough to snatch the right card from the deck.
Wow. That is
And
impressive.
and then the contestant was like, "So you're saying that I trained for decades to do superhuman reflexes?"
Mm.
And then he just burst into grin and was like, "Yep, that's what I
Wow.
did."
Wow.
And you know what? That's how Baldur's Gate 3 feels to me. Baldur's Gate 3 to me feels like, our job is magicians,
Yeah.
and Larian just rejected it and just went like, "All right, no, we're just gonna do it. There's no shortcuts here. We're just straight up gonna do it. We're gonna make all this content. We're gonna spend 20 years getting good enough to do it, and then we're just gonna do it. No tricks, no fakes, no get arounds. Just like straight up, here it is."
Remy, Fawzi, have y'all watched the movie Catch Me If You Can with
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks? So in that movie, it's about a con artist who goes from place to place, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and pretends
Mhm.
to be a million different things. He pretends to be a doctor, he pretends to be a lawyer, he pretends to be a whole bunch of different things. At the very end, the Tom Hanks character, who was I think CIA or I don't remember FBI, one of
Yeah.
those, he catches him and he tells him, "Listen, I found out how you did all the things, how you forged these checks, how you got this certificate, all of it. The one thing I can't figure out is how you passed the lawyer bar exam. And then Leonardo looks like DiCaprio's character looked at him and says, "I studied," and that was the trick.
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
That's Baldur's Gate.
That's
To me, that's Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
It's just it shouldn't be possible, and they did it.
They did it. Yeah.
You know,
And I
like
love that.
and like in a lot of like games where your actions affect gameplay or affect the narrative.
Yes.
It's usually like all narrative threads they will connect back, and your decision actually didn't really matter. We just gave you the illusion that it matters. In
The
Baldur's
Telltale
Gate
formula,
3, that's
right?
not the case. The wildly different things happen depending on what you choose.
It's impressive.
Completely different games. Completely different video games.
Yeah.
Like it's just incredible work.
Mind blowing.
Anyway.
That's why I was like, number 2, the lowest.
Yeah. The lowest.
Is what I'm
November
willing to
didn't
give
come
this
out
game.
number 1.
For me, the weird thing is, like, I think for me, it's one of those things where it's just really Baldur's Gate 3 and Alan Wake are completely different possible achievements.
Yeah.
So it's hard to compare them for me, but I have to go with, like, I believe that Larian will do a better game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I have no doubt that you can take Baldur's Gate 3 and do a better version of it. Or I don't think you can. I don't think I can. I don't think any of us can.
Mm-hmm.
Larian can.
Yeah.
Right? Alan Wake 2, I think Remedy knows this is the only Alan Wake 2 they're ever going to be able to make.
Mm-hmm.
They can do an Alan Wake 3, but it will be a completely different video game.
Never say never. I mean, we waited 13 years for this one.
Right, but Alan Wake 2 is not like Alan Wake 1.
No, it's not.
It is a completely different game. Baldur's Gate 3 is a much better iteration of
Divinity.
Divinity.
Yeah.
So I believe they can do that again. I don't think anybody can do a better version of Alan Wake 2. I think that is the summit of an Alan Wake 2 style game.
I really need to play this game. I'll get it.
Oh, you should.
I'll
You
get
should.
on it.
Anyway, I am very happy with this list, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a good list.
Habibis Game of the Year
Games list. Yeah.
2023 Femba.
I love it. I love it.
We kept people busy for 2 hours.
Wow, we've been talking for 2 hours.
Oh my
We've been
god.
talking 2 hours.
With you, honestly, Habibis, the time just goes. It
It
just
flies.
It just flies. Honestly, I can talk to you
is
forever.
good.
And now I have more games to play thanks to you too. I have
Yes, same.
Dredge, mate. You're going to have a good time with Dredge. Habibi.
This year is worse than 2017 because like 2017 had so many good games that were long, and so I was only able to sample them, and then I kept playing 2017 games in 2018, in 2019, in 2020 till I caught up with the best games of 2017. I feel like I'm going to be playing 2023 games into 2030. Like I feel.
Let's hope the industry picks up because it looks like it's going to be a quiet year otherwise.
Yeah.
So
maybe even the next.
we'll
2
have time.
years. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many games we didn't even talk about, right?
Yeah.
Like El Paso Elsewhere, we didn't mention.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
Really good,
Yeah.
really good game.
Yeah.
But
Assassin's
I
Creed
think
Mirage was really
yeah,
special.
really good, really special.
Viewfinder had some was
Oh,
the
that was good.
impossible game.
Was good,
Viewfinder should not have existed. There was,
but it does.
Yeah, but it does. There was Sea of Stars that was really good. There was Starfield, Dead Space. Like those are great. So many good games this year.
Alhamdulillah for a beautiful 2023, and inshallah for a better 2024.
Inshallah.
Because
Happy New Year, everybody. Wish
Happy
you a
New Year.
wonderful 2024.
I think that's it.
We love you, Habibis.
We love you all.
Love
If you
you, love.
strongly disagree with any opinions we've had on the show, please email
Especially
info@thehabibis.com.
Yeah, that'll make Osama very happy to receive
Yes,
your
it would.
disagreements.
Especially
It
if
will
you
make-
disagree with Robbie's terms. Please.
If you want to argue with us or with the community, we have a lovely community over at discord.thehabibis.com. Join us there. For now, I think we're signing off for 2023. We'll be back, inshallah, 2024. This was another episode of the Habibis. Salam.
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 That was the Habibis podcast for this week. I was Rami Ismail, your host for this episode. You can find me on Twitter at @THA_Rami. My fellow Habibis were Osama Dorias, who you can find on Twitter at Osama Dorias, and Fawzi Mesmar, who you can find on Twitter at Fawzi Mesmar. Send us your questions, stories, and suggestions via info@thehabibis.com. The intro and outro music was provided by Malik Zubayla, and the logo was provided by Ibrahim Hamdi. The Habibis is a weekly podcast about 3 game developers drinking good Arab tea, with new episodes launching every Friday, inshallah. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcasting service or check out thehabibis.com for more information. Thank you for listening, and salam.